Hello. It says 876. I think I'm live and I always see other people at this point. So, hello, my Renaissance grandma. Thank you for coming. Diversity Love. I knew that you were Perfection Baking, but I couldn't find your link. I wanted to sign up for when you go there. Thank you for coming and welcome. Maria Graham, thank you, thank you, thank you. And welcome, everybody. I have been working on new graphics. I have someone helping me with graphics. I've been doing homework, loading new software, new apps, and I am so excited. I'm ready to actually start my book now, and pretty soon I'll be able to upload all these old photos of all of the years of gardening and housing and traditions and animals. So everyone is speaking to each other. And thank you. I will pull it up on this handy dandy phone so that I can see what you guys are doing in the background. Okay. So I'm reading my messages. I'm turning my phone off so that nobody knocks me on off the air like they did before. And 1 second, you guys. I'm going into the chat so that I can see what you guys are saying. I want to thank each and every one of you. I'm going to go live. Making an old fashioned strip quilt is what we are going to talk about today. Oh, shucks. I meant to bring the quilt that I was working on. And thank you for hitting the thumbs up like button, you guys. It's the day before Easter for those of you who celebrate Easter. And I know a lot of people who normally go live will not be going live tonight. Others will be going live. So we'll just do what we do and stay in our lane. So how many of you are celebrating Easter or preparing food or going to eat with others? I will give you a few minutes. My, Perfection baking, I have to get used to saying that instead of diversity love. I miss your diversity love. I hope that you are getting on to that part. You had a sewing machine, you have plenty of room on the floor. I actually got it's new to me machine. It is a heavyweight singer. It is a Marie Graham said she doesn't celebrate anymore. Well, for me, it didn't matter what the date was on the calendar. My family, the way I grew up, we celebrated every Sunday together. Hello, Nancy, our treasured home. Thank you for coming and welcome, welcome, welcome. You guys, Dolores is in the background. She is helping me. And she is the one who helped me get my new. Actually, it's not my new. You see my logo in the back. I don't know if you ever noticed in the back where my sewing machine is, where I sew the hands that were there. That was actually my traditional logo. And I was going to call my business name Traditions with a Z and S. Then I said, you know what? People won't know what kind of traditions I'm talking about. There are other channels, big channels, with the word traditions in their name. So I didn't want anybody to think I was copying them or cloning them. So I put GQUAT because what does that stand for? Garden, Quilt, and Art Show. So, uh, oh, she said, call her. She doesn't celebrate. You'll get your old account back. I love this account. I can do whatever you like. I did miss seeing you and talking to you, and I trust that everything is okay. I am making a last minute decision. I had a really busy day today, and I had planned on going. It's normally about an hour ride, no matter whether driving or somebody else transportation. She said, just call her Diversity Love. Okay, so that people will know who you are. And I had a long day today, and I'm like, it might be too much. And one of the things I talk about in therapy is like trying to overdo it. When you come back from a major health emergency, it's not, oh, I forgot about you, Hershey. He's over there doing something. And I'm able to live independently. I'm able to do whatever I want in limitations as long as I don't overdo it. And my daughter was saying, well, Mom, maybe that's too much. She was trying to tell me that it was too much. And I think she's right. So I came home from what I was doing all day today, and come on, you want to say hi? Come here. So Mr. Hershey wanted to say hello, you guys. So he's saying hello, and I'm going to put him down and wipe my eyes. I mean, wipe my hands. That's why I didn't want to pick you up, because you're getting tangled up in my headset. Wipe my hands off. So, whatever you celebrate, just celebrate being alive, being happy. The retired gardener, thank you for coming and welcome. Jihad, thank you for coming and welcome, welcome, welcome. I meant to tell you something and about your quilt. What I sprayed on it was a little essential oil, and it's called patchouli. It's actually, if you get the essential oil, I don't wear perfume in the garden. I don't wear perfume in the summer. And I always tie my hair up when I'm outside in the mornings, because the bees, the bugs, everything, mosquitoes swarm my face. So patchouli, P8, it's like the word patch, OULI, is the one thing that you can use that will repel bugs, and it smells so good. That's actually the base that's used with most perfumes. Maria Graham is speaking to everybody. Hudson is speaking to everybody. And how patchouli oil was invented, it was invented in India. Nine watching, six thumbs up. Let's get those thumbs up, you guys. Good things are happening. And I know that sometimes people are in the bushes. I want to thank you and welcome you, and all of that helps in the algorithms. It's helping the channel to grow. Just a week ago today, I celebrated 1,500 and a couple more family members. And you know what? I had the feeling that numbers were being held somewhere in secret places, because now, if you look at it, I have 1,800 family members since last week. I know that my channel was shared out. When I say my channel, it's our channel. It's actually a channel where the traditions that are celebrated are the family traditions that I have grown up with. And I know normally the day before Easter growing up, we're hemming pants for my brothers, to sew them so that they feel, trying on our little outfits to go to church. We always went to church on Sunday. Some of the other traditions I have celebrated in the past, I don't know what the word is you call it, but like what I call First Fridays. First Fridays is one of my neighbors is Jehovah Witness, and she invited me to go to I don't know whether she calls it temple. I go to celebrate with other religions in different places. I'm Christian. I'm Baptist. I was raised Baptist. I'm still a member of my childhood church that I was baptized in over 70 years ago. Like all the years I tell you, I've been quilting and not quilting, crocheting and doing the different fiber arts that I learned in the family, I still belong to the same church. It's pretty far to get there from where I live now, but I go to virtual church on Sunday. My mother is in there. Mother, if you're in the bushes, Hudson is saying congrats on 1.8K. Yes, 1800. When I get to 2000, I plan on having a big celebration, but I need to pump my brakes so that I can have time to get ready. But now that I have help getting my graphics together, my other things, when I'm going to have the wheel so that we can put names in. And I think I will do it based on comments. That way I can do like Joe, the Garden State Gardener, or Grow Big TV, and some of the other channels, they have the wheel that spins. Then I don't have to have everybody putting start, stop. I'm learning how to share the screen. I'm learning how to do the draft graphics. And the little graphic up in the corner, you guys, if I can explain, that's one of my favorite quilts. You know that my favorite color, those of you who've been coming a while, is purple. Well, the symbol celebrates my family and the hands that support it and the family tree. I have actually been alive for 8 generations. There are 6 living generations. You grow row. I saw you doing something with your seeds, and I love that t-shirt on that said something about you can't have too many seeds or something. I'm like that with fabrics. I'm like that with fabrics. Oh, and speaking of traditions, I was going through looking for some things to get ready for today. I try to find things of interest or things that some of you may remember with your families. I told you that we grow up going to church on Easter Sunday. There were 6 of us kids and my maternal grandmother lived with us, but she usually worked on Sundays because she worked in the hospital on the children's wards, and she thought it was important to be there for the children who didn't have grandmothers. And we called her, my sisters and brothers and I called her Nene, Nene, and the others used to call her Miss Grandma Nene. So she thought it was important to be at the hospital for the kids who didn't have parents. And my grandmother was about, I know she wasn't 5 feet tall. She was about 4'11", this huge, huggy chest. And she was so soft and squishy. I used to love getting in her bed and cuddling up with her. And one of the things that I regret, I think I loved her growing up, and I love my parents and all my siblings. I think I loved her more than anyone in the whole wide world. But you know what? I never told her. And then when she was gone, I was so broken up. I said, you know what? From now on, the people that I love, including you all. Why? Because good friends become family, and family is everything. Dolores is saying hi, you guys. She's been helping me get my graphics together and tutoring me. And that's why I tell you guys, I love you. This is an American Sign Language. This is an L. This is a U. And because I mean that, and not everybody gets to hear that. You know, sometimes you get dressed up, like say you go to church or something, and you walk down the street, or I live in a high rise building, and sometimes I'll get dressed and go downstairs or walk through the lobby, and someone will say, "Hey, Mike, thank you for coming and welcome." And anybody that I didn't see to say hello to, the moderators, I thank you. I appreciate you. And thank you for greeting everybody. everybody doesn't have that love, and I've always had it. I've always been so loved. It's like, at times I thought it was overwhelming. Now I understand that there's never too much love. As soon as you sat down, you had delivery. Mike, thank you. Thank you. So I was looking, getting some things ready to show you guys today, because part of this is part of my journey. I'm writing a book, a memoir. It started out to be a a memoir from my mother, all her memories. But then she said, "Well, you write it down." And then she starts talking so fast, I can't transcribe it. I'm going to be using a new talk to text, some type of editor, so that I can get her words in and her picture. She's so cute. My mom is so cute. And after last Saturday's live, we were talking about her mother, her grandmother's sister, my my granddaughter, who lives in the family home with my mother, and the kids were saying, "Nana, mommy was up for 2 hours. She wouldn't go to bed. She was trying to remember names." And then at the end, the lady that I was telling her was her grandmother's sister. We were saying the same thing. We always do that. We'll sit up there and clash, go back to back, hand to hand combat about stuff. And guess what? We're saying the same exact things in different ways. And so I was looking for things to take out, and it's still National Crochet Month. And here are, I was going to iron it. It didn't happen today because I was busy doing other things. I'm going to pull this down. Oh, my package will be there Wednesday. You guys, y'all's will get there sometime. All this is embroidery, crochet that I will be sending out this week. And as a matter of fact, my Renaissance grandma, this is one of yours, so that you can take your pictures of your soaps and your spices and things on something vintage, antique, authentic, and original. So I say these for you. I can't show everybody all all the stuff that I have, but all this stuff on this chair, except for Mrs. ARD's bag, will be going out in the mail this week, because I think it's nice to have something of somebody that you love, something that you care about. Maria Graham, yours will be going out. Karen's Little Garden, yours is in this pile. And my sister Joanne Stevens, hers is over there. But I wanted to show you this little crochet piece that was my grandmother's. It was Nini's. And Dolores was saying she's helping in the background. She's like in the back room, you guys. Auntie Ellen, you made a crochet baggie like you showed me in the last slide. I am so proud of you. I am so proud of you. And one day, maybe on a Saturday when you're off from work, maybe you'll come up live. I'd love to have you guys show up. When I was young, we weren't allowed to watch TV. We had a big color TV. Like now, all the kids have cable boxes in their room, their own color TV. We had a big color TV with a record player and a radio in it, but we weren't allowed to look at it until the weekends. We had chores to do. We weren't allowed to work in high school. My job was to be on the honor roll. My job was to teach my younger brothers and sisters the things that I learned in school as the eldest. And my job, hey, Nikki, the everyday life of an OCD-ish chick. I saw your noodles in your lips today. I sit up there and I rest a few minutes before I go live, especially on Saturdays, because I'm up 4 o'clock bubbling around. And Nikki's one of the reasons that my channel grew. She shared it out, others shared it out, and I appreciate that. So speaking of traditions, I this is another little Odom. Thank you for coming. I saw you and Wifey at the farmers market. I saw stuff. This was an embroidered And you see, I used my handkerchiefs. I used them, and I would like wipe my face, lipstick. So they may be stained, but they can always be put in lemon juice or ammonia. So this is one that was hand crocheted along the edge. I remember sitting at my grandmother's knee. I bring it every day. Hey, Kelly, thank you for coming and welcome, welcome, welcome. You guys are like family. It's like I was saying, the traditions we celebrated every Sunday when people were off from work. Uncles, aunts, cousins, everybody came to our house. We always cooked big, huge pots of food, and that's what everybody did. My grandmothers lived nearby, uncles, aunts lived nearby, cousins and cousins and cousins and cousins. We grew up like brothers and sisters. Some of the traditions I want to show you, and this is a recent tradition, and it says love and a heart. For you guys who don't know, the three purple hearts was my signature. At one point, I was legally blind when I first came on YouTube, and I would try to write in the chat, and I couldn't see. It would be moving so fast. So I would put three purple hearts. A lot of people didn't like it when I came in their chat and did it. And how are you doing? Comments with no hands? It's because Dolores is helping me. She's in the background. And this, my great granddaughter did. She didn't sign it. So I put Sid, SYD, in the bottom. And then she put, I love you, Nana. This was just a little like card box. And the kids and I do arts and crafts together. And my Rose grows in Harlem. You finally caught a live. I saw you. And she does vertical. For those of you who have yards on the slope, she shows, you can go to her channel and show how to do that. Soon in the future, I will be able to put in a word like hashtag quilts or something, where we will be able to drop your channels on there. So I'm working on it. So this is one my great granddaughter did. She's only 18 now. She had to have done this 10 years ago. You do arts and crafts with your grandchildren. I do it with my great grandchildren and even my great great grandchildren. I have a 3-year-old great great grandson, and I have this book about Ruby Bridges. He's only 3, but I want to take it and read to him. And it's actually for first grade. He doesn't read yet, but when he does, and there are different words in here, and I wanted him to see a book with a child that looks like him. So that's why I got this. And his mother, my granddaughter, works in the school system, but she also is a professional hairstylist. She does braids. She does my hair sometimes. And when I'm sitting there 4 to 6 hours in the beauty chair, he and I, my great grandson Rai Rai, my great great grandson, and I read, we do puzzles, we do things together. So I always have a little pile of things, not too many because I don't want to overload him. And like if I'm able to get there on Easter, he's going to have Easter egg hunt, the family eating and everything. So the little time that I have to spend with him, I like it to be special time, even if it's only a few minutes. I like the time that I spend with you guys here on the channel. It's special to me, and I wanted to be here. I know that the fourth Saturday and the third Saturday, I intentionally used to go live before the Everyday Life of an OCDist Chick, the chat. Then I said, you know what? Some people don't have a family or anybody to hang out with on holidays and weekends. And going back to whatever holidays, it's what I call a holiday is anytime anybody gets together. On Mother's Day, for example, we don't just give gifts to the people in the family who are mothers or who actually gave birth. We give gifts to everybody in the family who's a female. Why? Because everybody in the village, everybody in the family contributes. My two children would not be the same were it not for family members. Miss Shirley, OG, hey sis, how are you doing? I call her Miss Shirley. She she knows I'm the big sister, but it's just out of respect. I call her Miss Shirley. When my mom and when my dad was alive, my mother in front of us kids, she used to say, "Daddy," and he would always say, "I'm not your daddy. I'm not your daddy." He didn't like her calling him daddy. And my mother was always young and cute. Everybody contributes. Everybody contributes. Aunts, uncles, everybody. I want to show you another family tradition. And this is one of my pieces of art. It's a piece of glass. It's really thick. It's handmade. Some of you know, oh gosh, my sister says, don't talk about my nails. My sister Joanne is a glass artist, and this is one of her pieces she gave me. I've always loved elephants. It's like it's like Unbiased LLC is the child that I had that nobody knew about because she likes all the things that I like. She likes purple. She likes teal, turquoise as a secondary color. I already have a lot of merch that I plan to embroider that is turquoise as the backup color. Maybe I'll take the turquoise and put this dark purple that you see going across, that rich royal purple. And so this is when I have helpers and they do the dusting and things for me because my hands drop things. This is actually very, very heavy, very heavy, and I have to tell them not to clink the pieces of glass together. But I just wanted to show it in the show on bias that her old nanny, as I'm old enough to be her grandmother, old enough to be a couple folks' grandmother. See, I didn't bring a tissue over here. This is clean, so I will use the handkerchief to wipe my eye because it's always watering. And I want to thank you, those of you who have come aboard the Garden Quilt and Art Show family reunion bus because I feel like that's what we do when we get together every week. And I know that most of us have more than one device. We can thank you, those of you who says that it's gorgeous. My sister's probably home preparing things now. I'm looking around because I always bring so much stuff out here to show you guys. I didn't bring it over here right now. Why? Because it's always on my bed. The rag quilt that I made with my dad's old coats, his clothes, not a coat, the coats and not the coats, I keep saying coats, the pants and the shirts. I added onto a big rooster. I saw y'all cutting up last night. I wake up in those underneath those bushes, peeking out, and then I'm like, oh, they're getting ready to go off. I'm embarrassed to show up. Don't have my glasses on. Can't type everybody's name in wrong, upside down. By the time I say hello and there's a G on the end, a P at the end, put my 3 purple hearts so that you guys know it's me. It's like next. So, you guys, this is the little chart that I made of adding on to the memory quilt that I made of my dad. It's more of a weighted blanket. It's more of a fidget quilt. So the plain center is the existing quilt. So since we were live Thursday, I've taken this part and attached it to the quilt. And I've taken these at the top. So now it covers my feet. And I have pinned the 2 sides. I don't do a lot at one time. I do a little bit, and that's why I have the oh thank you, you grow for the super sticker. I appreciate you. I appreciate each and every one of you and all that you do to contribute to the channel. And I hope I contribute to your lives. And even though I didn't give birth to you or anything, I hope you say, well, I enjoy listening to that Auntie Ellen. Boy, she tell you some stuff. And when I tell you guys things that I remember things like my dad telling me. I used to spend a lot of time with him when nobody else. I was the oldest. Did I just see? I don't know. I don't know what I thought I just saw. I am the oldest, and I was always a daddy's girl. Always a daddy's girl. He always called me Pen Pen, and I was always up under him. I was the oldest son that he never had. I was in his toolboxes. I was taking his wrenches out, his hammers. Oh, thank you, Odom. I could talk to you guys for hours. I enjoy talking to older people. I go down in the building and there's a lady who lives here. She's actually like 100 years old. There's another lady that's actually a Holocaust victim. She has the tattoo on her arm still, and she told me about being a prisoner of war and in a concentration camp in Siberia and what it was like. I think the best stories, the worst stories. I think my mother watches so that she can tell my kids that I was acting up and being bad. She stays awake for hours telling them what I said and what I did. I have a loving family, but you know what? Don't get it twisted. They'll get you straight too. They will get you straight. They will tell you in a nice way, like mom or sis, I don't know how to tell you this, so I'm just going to tell you this. Or you did this. You said that. I don't know what happened between you and the other family member, but you need to get that together. You need to get that straight. You two need to work that out. Something recently happened, and my sister Joanne had to tell me, Sissy, I don't know what you said, but it went back to the person that you were talking about, and it was turned around a little bit. You need to get that. You need to get that straight. Oh, talking about don't take any mess. Remind me when I go over to my work area, one of my pin cushions for you 2A people is a guy, and the top is orange and his hands up, and they're all pins in the middle of his chest. Those of you who go to the range, you know what that means. Hi, Deidre, the analytic gardener. Oh, you're in your garden? How is your mom doing? Are you in your garden or her garden? Oh, and speaking of gardens, you guys, I withdrew from the planter herb garden because I tried to kill everything. I don't know whether I got the some of the fertilizer mixed up, whether I don't know what happened. I have had helpers coming to help me after my surgery, and things got discombobulated, things got dried out, things got overwatered. But you know what? It doesn't matter. I have been growing things for over 70 years in the garden. But you know what? The worst thing that can happen, I'm in Connecticut. My garden is a community garden. It's almost all shade. So the best things that grow out there are herbs. I have plenty of time to grow herbs. The last frost date is April 30th. We traditionally, even though the grow zones are changing, May 30th is when we always had a big family cookout and started our gardens. Everybody was out there, all the kids. Oh, she's doing well. You're back in your garden. Yes, that's important. I was telling you about my neighbor. She's 100 years old. One of the neighbors I was teaching arts and crafts downstairs on Thursday evenings until the you know what came along. Then I decided, well, you know what? I can still do it. I can go live. But I have some huge farms near me. I have huge farmers markets. I don't actually have to grow anything. I want to grow things. I love to grow things. I have to have my fingers in the dirt. I'm chopping off celery, replanting it, scallions, green onions. That's just what I do. That's just what I do. Just like I went to get my hair washed and retwisted today. So, what was I doing while I was waiting? I was knitting a corner to corner, a corner to corner dishcloth. So let's talk about how you manage multiple projects. You do it. Um, Mike's pepper's got powdery mildew. You just start new stuff. Exactly. Exactly. And you've got it's still cold where you are in zone five something, 5A, 5B. And so you've got plenty of time. If I don't grow anything except herbs, I'm happy. You know why? Because Mr. Groundhog is out there. I wish I could invite African Dreamin' or some of my uncles to come over there, even though it's in the city and you can't have certain loads in the city. Even if I don't grow anything except marigolds or something to make some tinctures and salves. Oh, Mike says 4B. If nothing else, I live on a private property, and so there's not like strange dogs. In fact, Mr. Hershey used to be the only dog in this building because he is a registered therapy dog and he's on my lease. I live in a registered handicapped apartment, with the handrails, the pulled things in the bathroom in case you've fallen and you can't get up. I actually have one of those pull things, but I got it tangled up in my little cart one day and my phone rang. So I'm busy going shopping with my friend and I didn't answer the phone. Well, I should have answered the phone because when I came home, I went to open the top lock. The top lock was already open. Then when the bottom lock, I opened the door, I thought somebody broke in my apartment. Somebody did break in the apartment. It was the EMS. They did a wellness check because my alarm that you have to press that was around my neck was pressed. And when they called me back on my cell phone, I didn't answer. They had to do a wellness check. They had to do a wellness check to see if I was on the floor and couldn't get up or what. Or what. I'm like, oh my gosh. I was pissed. LP, thank you for coming and welcome, welcome, welcome. So I want to talk about managing multiple projects at once. I talk about a 15-minute challenge. Why? Because sometimes that's all you have. You've been out in the garden today, you've been cooking, you might just want to work on a little project a little bit. What I'm going to do after I get off this live today, I am going to, sometimes I can see my clock, sometimes I can't. But guess what? This big old watch that you see me wear, why is it so big? Because it's a man's watch. This is Daddy's Swiss Army watch with the chronica. I can dive in it. I can take a shower in it. I can forget to take it off in the rain. It can get too hot like my cell phone. But guess what? This thing, Daddy didn't wear a watch to work because he worked in construction and building maintenance. And when he retired, I bought this watch for him. And I moved into the family house on the third floor, the whole third floor. There were 3 bedrooms and a bathroom up there. And I would be late coming home from work, or I'd say, Daddy, I went to Bible study. It was like I was back in junior high school. You went to Bible study? What did you talk about? What did you study in Bible study? I had to sit and tell Daddy what I learned in Bible study. Or I went to the gym tonight because he wouldn't eat dinner until I came home from work and ate dinner with him and Mommy. And you know how you can tell you're getting old? When you're sitting at we ate in the kitchen a lot. You're sitting at the counter and there are 3 baskets, little baskets with your medicine in it, and you're all 3 taking the same medicine. Mommy's like, oh, you got Daddy's basket. Oh, Daddy, you got Mommy's basket. That's when you could tell you're getting old. Maria was in the yard today cutting grass. Yay. I'm going to take a disaster video. I haven't been able to walk down to the community garden. It's at the end of a long walk and a bunch of steps. And my sister, Joanne Stevens, has already threatened me if I go down there because I can't take my walker down there. And there are steps are a long way. And I need to take gardening stuff with me and a basket. And I've got Hershey on the leash. He's blind now. I've got Hershey on the leash. I've got other I've got gardening tools and my cane because I left the walker or the basket up there, a train wreck. So my meds and vitamins take up more space than the food. Exactly. But you know what? You need to Chase, thanks for liking us on Facebook. Chase is actually one of my cousins, you guys. And Chase, thank you. She is a Marine Corps veteran. Love you, cuz. Love you, cuz. So, one of the things I'm going to talk about, because I won't take up all of your evening before Sunday tomorrow. Oh, and you know, another tradition that I have celebrated in the past, I have celebrated Ramadan. I don't do the same prayers and everything, but I did the fasting and praying with one of my friends. I did the whole Ramadan one season, you know, and not eating from sunup to sundown with one of my friends. So that's just interesting learning the different traditions of everybody. Chase is one of the cousins, like on family holidays, comes to the family picnics, barbecues, hang out. Her mom before her. We go to the same church. She sings in the choir. I sing around the choir. I sang with the choir when I was young. So what I want to talk to you about my next project and how I handle multiple projects is like when I worked in corporate in these big law firms, these Fortune 500 clients, I used to do the minute books. I used to have to file corporate documents, annual filings, wills, trusts, and estate filings. And I had to keep a list in my computer of all of my clients. And I also had a file on my desk where I could look at different things and find out what was due, because you can't just take care of, okay, today I'm going to take care of Mike's Chaotic Gardening. What about your other clients? And when you're in the workspace, you have to bill every 6 minutes in corporate. And I was a senior corporate paralegal for 20 years before I got other degrees and other promotions and started my own businesses. And I had to, my salary, I had to, it was in thirds. I had to make enough money, number one third to pay my salary, number one to pay the overhead for the firm, one third, and the other one third was profit for the company. So for example, I didn't make that much per hour. I had to bill my corporate clients, and this was 20 years ago, $100 an hour. Hey, Val Creates, how you doing? How are you doing? I thought about you today. I was doing something and I had some earrings that I had one of them in the ashtray. I actually found the other one when I was looking for some other things. A lot to keep track of. Yes. So I do a little bit, like I have a project that I want to have finished for next year. My mom's quilts are getting older. Her latest quilts are about 10 years old. And the little logo that you see up in the corner, well, the quilt behind that is purple. What's his name? Da-da-da-da. He's in the military and he bought a quilt like that. It's with orange and brown. But that logo, my mother and I, that quilt has 2,500 pieces in it. And one summer, my mother came to North Carolina. I was living on the family homestead then. Excuse me. And she spent, I want to say 4 weeks that summer, 6 weeks down there. And I had all these 2.5 inch blocks cut out, all ironed. And I taught her how to put them together, right sides together, and hand them to me. She would match them together and say, "Oh, I don't like this print with this one." So she would hand them to me and I would make the 9 patches. We spent one summer just sitting. I had a 1,500 square foot studio on the second floor of the house. The house, when it was built, the whole second floor, I there were 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms on the first floor in the middle of 4 acres. Who needs all that? There was other stuff outside, gardens and critters and things, but I had a full studio and work area, 35 sewing machines upstairs. But we sat at the dining room table, mommy and me, in that little black antique sewing machine called Bessie, just talking about life, about all her life on earth and mine, and her handing me these squares. Well, I was making this quilt for me because they're my favorite colors, purple. And at the end of it, you love my cardigan and it matches my. Thank you. This is a kimono from my daughter. My daughter, and the head wrap is butterflies. I actually made it myself because I don't always put my head, and it was simple. It was just a nice piece of fabric and it was getting near the end of it. So that was one of the things I just made. Oh, and at the time we had to wear masks, and I made a mask to match it too because I was going to something and I didn't want to just wear just plain old stuff. So now I want to tell you about the quilt that I always wanted and never had. So I'm going to be working on, and it's going to take me a year because it's going to be a scrap quilt. I've already worked out how many pieces I need. And so I figured out that I'm making 6.5 inch blocks. And in the South and other places where it's hot, other countries, they don't always put batting between the quilt pieces. My mother told me that when she was growing up, times were hard, people would put straw inside some of the quilts in order to keep warm, or old coats, or the quilts would get old. They would just put inside, another layer inside. I find that fascinating. I find that fascinating how people found a way to keep their children warm. They were on wagon trains. Her family moved from, excuse me, from Virginia to Pennsylvania in the 1840s. I never, Gigi. Hi. Oh my goodness. Gigi, you see them, is the one who surprised me when I got out of the hospital and came to visit with my son Aaron and surprised me. She's the one that bought the flowers that I had on the table. They're still there, Gigi. The yellow ones are still living. And thank you for coming. So we're talking about all the stuff that I make, and she'll tell you this place, different areas are designated, but she was the one who kept everything running smoothly for me. Why did they settle in Pennsylvania? Because my mother's great great grandfather was given 400 and something odd acres because of his military experience. My great grandfathers, my great 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 grandfathers, some of them, and I have their military records, some of them fought in the Revolutionary War. Some of them fought in the Civil War. I'm sure some of them fought for the North and the South. But they moved to Pennsylvania, in Fayette County, Pennsylvania, and my great great grandfather owned a walk-in coal mine, and then the coal mine was sold at some part, but they retained part of the land, and the Thomas Family Cemetery in Pennsylvania, if you Google it, is a registered historic landmark, and that's my mom's family cemetery. And they've been there since the since the 1840s, 1830s. So, yeah. So this quilt, I didn't learn how to actually quilt until, I'm not crying, you guys. My eye is just watering. I didn't learn how to quilt. I've always known how to sew. I learned how to sew by hand. I learned as a Girl Scout in Brownie when I was 7 or 8 years old. Oh, there are 40 people in the chat. Thanks, you guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So when I started quilting, I learned one, a friend showed me how to make the actual quilt sandwiches, but I learned by going to all these bouger schools, all these bouger. Well, you do it this way. The quilt police were there. The seams had to be a certain way. Everything had to be perfect, perfect, perfect. Some of the quilts that I show, the points had to touch at a certain place. There's a difference between a utility quilt and a show quilt or an art quilt. So I talk about utility quilts, and this quilt will be a utility quilt. It will be beautiful enough to quilt to show, but I never, when I had the leftover scraps from all these matchy quilts, I used to put them in a gallon Ziploc bag and give them away. I'm going to show you some of the pieces I've been collecting. This one came from Psalm 146 and a shirt that I cut up. Thank you, Gigi, for liking on Facebook. Over the years, I always wanted to make this strip quilt. So I started putting pieces of fabric in bags and totes. Mind you, they're already ironed. So all I have to do is take them out and start sewing them together. And it's going to take, this quilt is going to be for my mother, and it's going to take 21 yards of fabric, all scraps and pieces. So look at this, all kinds of mismatch quilts. So it's like, how are you going to take all this mismatch fabric and make a beautiful quilt? Stay tuned, you guys, because what I'm going to do is make 2 blocks per week. And the 2 blocks are going to, each block is going to consist of 4 6.5-inch squares that I'm going to sew on a diagonal. And then there's a seam allowance, and you, when the block is finished, it will be basically 12 inches. So I'm making 12 blocks that are a foot, 12 blocks. So this quilt will be 12 feet wide and 8 feet long to go across my mother's king size bed. So I've given away most of the scraps because I was making matchy quilts. I was making stuff, but the southern quilt I'm going to show you. So look, I've got bags. Now all these are different bags that I'm showing you of scraps, all different colors. All different colors. And all these bags. So I'm finally going to take them out, and it's going to be a messy job. It's a messy job. Gigi can tell you, I can have scraps, strings everywhere. I drop things, my hands drop things. So I'm going to have to cut 300. I've already done the math. 320 blocks of unbleached muslin. If you guys would like to join me on this, you don't have to make the same size quilt. So I've already cut unbleached muslin. Do not pre-wash the fabrics. I repeat, do not pre-wash the fabrics. So, oh, and by the way, Kelly, I bring it every day. My mother's family is all over Pennsylvania. All over Pennsylvania. And one of my grandmothers was Native American, so that's their tribal area up there, the tribes up there. Hudson's finishing dinner. Hope you're making some homemade bread or cooking for tomorrow. So you guys, I didn't count these lately, so this is what I'm going to sew the strips on. So I've already drawn a diagonal line on the block in pencil, and I will be sewing strips along there for the next year. But after I sew the strips together, I'm going to send it to a long arm quilter to finish it, like that big quilt in the background. When I finally finished putting it together, my mother said, I like that quilt. She's from Pennsylvania. She has that little Pennsylvania Ohio twang to her, and she says, "Well, I think I'll take that one." So I gave it to her for her 80th birthday. I had it finished, and that's one of her favorite quilts. And she has it on her bed. I don't have a bed quilt. I've never made a bed quilt for myself. I don't have a tote bag. I have some smaller bags, but I don't have a hobo bag. So this is a project that I will be working on in the background. Mind you, I'm working on my dad's legacy quilt, but it's on my bed because I sleep on it every night. Grilled leg quarters, yams, and cabbage for today. Oh, yum. I baked some baby tiny sweet potatoes this week. I put them on the little cookie sheet. Then I put them in a Ziploc bag because I just eat them. My dad used to eat them cold. Mom gets a claim to mommy and Joanne watch what I'm doing, and they get first claim to it. And mommy, she can have anything she wants. Anything I have, anything I have is hers. If she says she wants it, it's hers. So this big quilt, when I get it together, is going to be 10 blocks across. Each block, and I write it out, you guys, so you can do the math. Who didn't like math and geometry? This is how you figure it out. And 8 blocks down. So I'll have to make 80 of the big blocks times 4. It takes 4 of those muslin blocks to make 1 square. So I need to start with 320. And you see, I'm using 100% cotton, vintage fabrics. The fabric requirements, I need 10 yards for the front, 10 yards for the back. I need 10 yards of unbleached muslin. Oh, yes, Kelly, I did watch you making your souffle in the bushes. I did. You said that was your second one. I did. I watch on TV, but to rest my good eye, I don't have my glasses on. And if you guys don't see the 3 hearts, it's because I push enter before I finish typing, or I got lost somewhere in the chat. So that being said, and time is flying. It's almost an hour. I won't start making a mess. I'll just talk to you guys, and then on Thursday when I go live, I should have the denim and shirt quilt. You're at work, Blues Clues. Thank you. I appreciate you. And work is good to have. I appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate the mods. Dolores has been in the background putting hitting the chat, putting them up, helping me out. She made the logo. Well, I had the logo, and she made it so that I could put it in the corner with my quill. She rocks. All of you guys rock. I appreciate each and every one of you. I wish you were nearby. I would cook you all so much food. And you say, oh, Auntie Ellen, you wouldn't. Oh, yes, we would. My mom's house is big. It's here in Connecticut. And we have had weddings at the house with 400 people. And we had people cooking. She had a big chef's stove, and over the week had a professional chef cooking. We had a bar set up on one of the decks out back. We've had some really good, we've had family reunions there with hundreds of people. So yeah, we know how to entertain lots and lots of people, and everybody can cook. The 20-year-old great granddaughter has her own baking business. Everybody cooks, everybody bakes. And I just hope all of you have a happy Sunday, a happy Saturday night. If any of you are lonely, Oh, I would love to have you cook for me. I have to figure out where you are and somebody to drive me there and get me back. Kelly, sometime, oh, the Pankey family reunion is actually going to be in Philly this year in 2024. But my mother's maiden name is Thomas. So almost everybody in Pennsylvania named Thomas is related. When my great eighth great grandfather came over from England in 1719, he had 8 sons. His 8 sons all had kids, and they are everywhere. The family tree is 146 pages, the Thomas side. I'm working on a book and putting all the family trees together. I had a Facebook page called Traditions, spelled the regular way. And then somehow it got blocked, like Lady Cheryl. I got kicked out of it. So I said, you know what? No more. I'm not giving anybody at total access to any of my work. I have to go and find a way to take the photos that I listed there, some of the writings that I listed there. I talk about the baobab tree and the Pankey family being have branches like that reach out wherever. So I will be working on my books, the graphics. I'm writing a book for my great great grandson, and as the second eldest female in the family, I am the assistant matriarch. So it's my job, it's my duty to keep the family history and to share it with all of you who want to hear about it. So I will say goodbye to all my lovely friends. Why? Because we love you. I thank each and every one of you for coming by. If you come for the replay, thank you. Please leave a comment so that I will know that you were here. And I promise you, I will answer it. So thanks, everybody. And peace, love, and blessings. Do what you love and love what you do. You know, even the littlest things. I have my grandmother's industrial sewing machine. Those of you who have Jukies, I have an industrial machine that size that has never been used. My mother gave it to me, and I still haven't used it, but I'm getting ready to. All right, you guys. Good night. Thank you for coming, and take care.